All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. So, thanks everyone for attending. This is our second session of the People Puzzle: 7 things to do now to find, assess, and hire and retain talent. It's crazy out there. We haven't spoken to a single business leader in the past 9 months that hasn't brought up people as a challenge to their growth. And although we're focused on revenue growth as an organization, we're ultimately focused on anything that would inhibit our clients' ability to grow. So the people puzzle is a big factor and something that's timely that we need to address. So um, I think a lot of people are asking where all the talent has gone, and there's no silver bullet to this. It's obviously a mix of factors, but you look at some of the statistics in the marketplace in terms of baby boomer retirements doubling year over year, or things like the gig economy getting traction in terms of people working from home and maybe taking the opportunity to start their own business, and childcare being a even or a net loss or an even wash if the expense meets salaried employee. People are making the decision to just stay home, take care of the kids, especially after a year of homeschooling. Even the drug crisis is playing the role in terms of the decrease in production workers. In terms of these numbers, they could be a little bit inflated. It looks like a trustworthy source, but there is something happening again on various factors that are contributing to the challenges we're having in the workforce here. And of course, the big political lightning rod is the unemployment benefits factor. But again, we believe the challenges are expected to persist. And it's no silver bullet. There's no one reason the talent pool is so challenging right now. So one thing we wanted to make sure that we make all of our clients aware of is this concept of compensation disruption. It's real. It's manageable. If your competitors are certainly getting more competitive with their compensation, and if you don't feel like that's real, I I would encourage you to do a little research in what they're doing in the marketplace, because we found that a lot of people are stepping up their game in terms of compensation, and it's important to kind of stay on top of that. So this this concept of pay compression that's happening, and it occurs when there's little difference between new employees coming on board and tenured employees, and between managers and direct reports there's little difference in compensation, and that can lead to sense of being undervalued, loss of motivation or productivity, or increased turnover. These are these are issues that really don't they're not um, often spoken about in public forum in the employees, but it's usually a undercurrent. Can lead to, if somebody discovers that their pay is marginally different than someone that just came on board with considerably less experience, it's a slippery slope for sure. There's ways to manage it. So what we encourage is increasing a frequency of market review of compensation. It's a pain in the butt, we know, but really evaluating ad hoc, quarterly, or semi-annually, what what you should be um, adjusting your pay to be competitive in your specific marketplace. Base plus variable goal-based bonus pay is a popular model right now, whether it's production related or obviously in sales. It's a common way for compensation for those roles. Making sure you're grooming tenured and high performing employees for promotion. um, Making sure that we'll get into A players in a second, but making sure you're staying on top of the people that are crucial to your growth, and ensuring that you're rewarding those that are high performing with an appropriate career path. Be sure to provide alternative and valued benefits like flex schedule, childcare, tuition reimbursement. Anything that's lifestyle based goes a tremendously long way in today's workforce, and we encourage you just beyond the dollars and cents. What can your organization do to provide those alternative benefits? And make sure you review and increase prices to align with cost of goods. So if you're going to do a price increase, do it now. Everybody's expecting them, um, and making sure that those are aligned with obviously your compensation plans is an important piece. But there's really no one that's not expecting price increases right now. We know it's a challenging time, but definitely get ahead of that. So, and there's continuously assessing what you need and you can afford to pay to attract the talent that you need to grow. That's ultimately what it comes down to. So, 5 things you can do now to find, assess, and hire new talent. 5 things to do now: reframing the mindset from on demand to always on. We used to think that you basically could use a transactional approach to recruitment and hiring, turn it off and on based on what the business needs. But the marketplace really demands this kind of always on strategy. Um, Building a roster of potential employees that match, an ideal employee profile is an important piece. And refining and effectively communicating a unique employer brand. The employer brand is more important today than it's ever been. People want to see themselves working for a relevant and thriving company. So when they go to your website, do you seem like a modern company that somebody would want to work for? Do you have an up to date video that showcases your team, photos of your facility? All of these tie into what an employer brand is to make sure that you're recruiting the best talent. Designing and driving internal and external referral programs. Definitely have some sort of referral program is our recommendation. Some level of that. Implement a mom shift, which we're going to talk about in a second, and then launch and manage a grassroots hiring campaign. This is one example. This is what our headquarters is up in Cedarburg, Wisconsin, and MEC is a manufacturer up there that um, has a pretty solid employer brand. They're very proactive with their careers page and keeping things up to date. As I mentioned, there's a video on there that showcases what they're good at and how and what it means to work there. And generally, they have a good, solid presence there. And again, it presents them, even though it's probably hard work, it presents them as a relevant, thriving company, and um, they're able to bring in the top talent of the region. So internal and external referrals, it's valuable enough to get people to act. Um, it's important for them to have substance. It's effectively and consistently communicated. They ensure that you're celebrating and sharing every successful referral, and you're consistent with what each referral means, and make it easy to refer and collect, and make sure you're promoting it in the marketplace. You pay as promised on time, and test amounts, rewards, and program conditions. We have a client who implemented what he coined as a mom shift, and this is really just um, a way for somebody that's looking for a flexible work schedule to collect a number of hours over, over a month, or I'm sorry, over a week. He's based in Illinois, so I don't know why it's at 35 hours a week, but basically what he's created here is committing to a shift and at least working 4 hours a day and maxing out 35 hours a week and clock in and out when desired. So many of the people on this type of model, he shared that they're surpassing full shift employees in production, which is impressive, and it just kind of shows once you take a non-traditional look at some of these things, it really makes sense. In terms of the grassroots campaigns, facility signage, restaurant and bar, we've all seen uh, well, all the men have seen them. The urinal promotions showing openings, event spaces, sponsorships, grocery stores, organizations and associations. Grassroots campaigns are often overlooked. It's still so very important to be out there. Community bulletin boards. It especially if you're in a tight knit community, it's these are still relevant. Still good to get out there. Any kind of retail space it's important to put a sign out there. So it's a no-brainer from where we're sitting, but it's often overlooked by some. So two things you can do now to retain your A players. There's a few things that we recommend in terms of retaining A players. Be sure you know them first and foremost, keep them close, and provide A-level leadership. So don't overlook the people that are absolutely instrumental to your growth. And number two, give A players the first chance to grow, expand their responsibilities, and develop from within. If you believe they're important to your growth, make sure you're giving them the opportunities to grow themselves. And we've seen they'll stick with you as long as you have that feedback loop and you're clear to them how much they mean to the business. We've seen some unintended consequences happening in terms of cutting corners, process shortcuts like no drug testing, no assessments. We definitely recommend sticking to your process. It's, can result in bad hires, compensation issues, people that are just trying to hit a milestone to collect that bonus, hopping from job to job, or poor quality in performance. It's very important that you stick to what your what your process is, and make sure that no corners are being cut there. Ways VX can help. So, in terms of reframing the mindset to on demand and always on, we can, we can basically execute that on your behalf. So, one thing that we have found works is taking a digital marketing approach to recruiting. So, making sure that you're out there, finding new um, new targeted employees based on your employee profile. You can run digital ads. Obviously, Indeed will take all the money that you want to put into that machine, but there's other ways to promote your listings as well. Number two is refine and effectively communicate a unique employer brand. As I mentioned, an employer brand is now more important than ever. Making sure you look like a modern company. Design and drive internal and external referral programs. Launch and manage a grassroots hiring campaign. Sales recruiting and assessments. And we're going to get into a little product that we've created called Aptilio to showcase how we're addressing the assessment piece of the process. So right now, if you went to aptilio.com, you would see our overview for this, but we found a need for hiring managers to essentially outsource the first layer of the interview process. So we have a partner or partners that are business psychologists. They're what I like to call professional interviewers, science-backed, accredited assessors, psychologists that can tell you things like, is this person reliable? They're going to show up on the first day. what drives them. And we found that just going from recruitment to a hiring manager isn't suitable for today's marketplace. You want to make sure that the cost of a bad hire is mitigated, and you want to make sure the person that you're placing in those positions are, that the top quality talent. So that's really it. Thanks for coming today, and we will distribute a recording to this. And thanks for your time.